Welcome to Skybridge, your daily dose of gripping news. We uncover bold, bizarre, and breaking stories from criminal cases to celeb scandals. Our channel isn't just reporting, but also deciphering the news with insight and attitude. Real talk on real issues with real-time updates. Subscribe and dive into the story.
Zuma's daughter leaves King Mswati. King Mswati reacts. Breaking news. Nomcebo Zuma, 22-year-old daughter of former South African President Jacob Zuma and the 16th wife of King Mswati, has allegedly walked out of her royal marriage, leaving the Eswatini Palace and returning to her family home in Nkandla. Reasons for leaving. The video reports that Nomcebo grew frustrated by the king's prolonged absences, feeling isolated within the polygamous royal household and overwhelmed by palace protocol and limited personal freedom. Royal mediation effort. In line with Eswatini's customary practice, a royal delegation was dispatched to KwaZulu-Natal to negotiate her return, underscoring how traditional dispute resolution rituals still govern royal marriages. Cultural backdrop. It revisits the 2024 Umhlanga Reed dance ceremony where Nomcebo was chosen as a bride, contrasting the ceremony's symbolism of national unity with the modern tensions between cultural duty and individual choice. Diplomatic and social implications. The host explores how this high-profile rift may strain diplomatic ties between South Africa and Eswatini, while reigniting regional debates about women's agency within absolute monarchies. Here are some of the key psychological and psychosocial stressors Nomcebo Zuma likely faced in the months leading up to her departure from King Mswati III. 1. Feelings of abandonment and neglect. After paying our 2,100,000 cattle as lobola and crowning her as his 16th wife in September 2024, King Mswati reportedly spent months without seeing or contacting Nomcebo. Being effectively cut off from her spouse can trigger deep loneliness, rejection sensitivity, and anxiety about one's worth. 2. Power imbalance and loss of autonomy. Entering a royal household with 15 co-wives creates an environment of extreme hierarchy. Nomcebo went from a university student to a minor figure in a centuries-old institution. That sudden curtailment of personal freedom, where every move is governed by palace protocol, often leads to identity confusion and low self-efficacy. 3. Cultural displacement and isolation. Relocating from South Africa to Eswatini's royal entourage entails a 180 shift in language, customs, norms, and daily routines. Without close friends or a supportive peer group, she likely experienced culture shock, social withdrawal, and a sense of alienation. 4. Conflicting family loyalties. Her father's public refusal to bless the union and her mother's enthusiastic support put her in a painful bind between parental attachment figures. That tug of war can intensify guilt, shame, and uncertainty about which family truth to honor. 5. Public scrutiny and stigma. The high-profile nature of the marriage exposed Nomcebo to relentless media commentary about her age, her role as 16th wife, and even economic inequality in Eswatini. Chronic exposure to social judgment and stereotyping fuels stress, self-consciousness, and could catalyze depressive or anxious rumination. Taken together, these factors form a potent cocktail of emotional stressors: loneliness, loss of control, cultural uprooting, family conflict, and public pressure. Any one of these alone is challenging. Stacked as they were, they help explain why she chose to return to South Africa. The single most potent lever is the process of locking in free, prior, and informed consent through binding legal safeguards. Here's why it matters immensely. 1. It rewires the power balance. In the world of brides, royal or common, everyone, be it princesses or commoners, has the clear, enforceable right to say no, meaning no amount of tradition or family pressure can overpower her choice. That's the fundamental backbone of this change that spreads down to every other layer in society, for example, education, support networks, media campaigns. 2. It creates real consequences. When courts void marriages where consent was not freely given or impose penalties on families or institutions that coerce young women, you actively transform from empty promises to genuine accountability. 3. It drives cultural change from the top. Legislators, chiefs, and palace officials become deeply invested in ensuring every union that exists meets that legal standard as they publicly defend and enforce compliance norms. Social attitudes have to catch up with the new reality. 4. It unlocks resources. Once consent is lawful, you can connect aid money, humanitarian organizations' grants, and mental health services to its commitment. That means funding for counseling, legal aid, and outreach will not just be a nice to have, it as a fundamental requirement to ensure that the most vulnerable young women and their communities are protected. Real-world inspiration. In 2016, the country of Malawi underwent a significant change in its Child Marriage Act, requiring brides to undergo free, informed consent and raising the minimum age to 18 for those who were forced into it. That law's visibility alone significantly reduced the number of forced marriage cases, rising from a single digit to an impressive jump of over 50 cases within just a year. The law made it far more challenging for families to arrange these underage unions. More opportunities might follow in the coming years. 1. Designing a digital consent passport for all brides and grooms, where they must complete and upload documents prior to being able to register their union in the community. 2. Crafting a public scorecard of traditional leaders' commitments, all those who lead in upholding the consent norms. 3. Ensuring peer-led consent circles become accessible and safe in rural communities where young women can learn about their rights and practice asserting them. Which of these follow-up ideas feels most actionable in your context? Feel free to like, share, and comment on them. I'll see you on my next upload, and I'll see you soon.